Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And that's right, spoiler week continues, and today I bring you spoiler number 2 of 3, and I even have a guest this time. John Bruno from the local SoCal meta, who's been tearing it up, is joining us. And we're going to take a look at the spoiler together, and today we have the Ewok village of Endor. It is a battlefield, and it's pretty simple. It says, claim, remove all shields from a character. John, what do you think of this?
Might not be one of the ones I'll be playing regularly from this set. It's probably my first initial reaction. It's a situational one, right? I might be going up against Qui-Gon Ray or Qui-Gon anything, and it's good just to remove his shields. You go out first, remove his shields. He can't do his extra special tricks to you during while you're sitting there waiting for your next turn. I mean, that's okay, and sometimes you get characters that have no shields, but to be honest, if I'm playing like a villain deck, I can think of a zero-class blue event that I much rather play than having to play that battlefield. So there's a lot of other plays I can do. I mean, Kylo's lightsaber's better. Yep. I'd rather have a TIE fighter. On the hunt. I mean, there's so many things that I can play that already get rid of shields. I don't think I really need to invest a battlefield to just get rid of them all.
I think one of the things people often forget when evaluating battlefields is the opportunity cost for picking any particular battlefield is so much higher than any other card in the game. So you might look at this and say, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, I could see how I could use that. Okay, sure. But if you're a deck that is going to get to claim the battlefield, aren't there like 10 battlefields that would do more than maybe removing shields from a character that maybe you removed with your damage anyway?
For sure, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, there's so many battlefields I'd rather play. There's so many other cards you can do to get rid of shields. I will tell you, here is the best use of it that you don't want it to be picked. If I'm playing a deck, say I'm playing a blue villain deck where normally I don't get shields on my characters anyway, and I'm not worried about shields being removed. Maybe the only shields I get are the first two at the beginning of the game. I don't mind them, I don't mind putting that out as my battlefield, because if somebody wants to pick that, it might benefit me during the game and not my opponent. But I'd rather have a battlefield where I'm trying to deter them from picking that battlefield.
Gotcha.
So maybe this could be the new Mos Eisley.
Yeah. I mean, that to me is, again, where we're constantly trying to look for the best battlefield for the deck that is not playing to claim.
Correct.
And from that perspective, this actually fits pretty well as long as you're not getting shields, because what it does do is it sort of hedges your bets a little bit. If they flip over Qui-Gon, you might go, you know what? I'm just going to take this, and then there's going to be a couple turns where I'll sacrifice and claim a little early. And then let's say they're not playing Qui-Gon and they're just playing a regular deck and they choose that battlefield. There could be moments where it's useful, right? Maybe they get a couple of shields. Maybe they dug in, and now you do claim it a little early and take 3 shields off. So it's certainly not a power level double-sided battlefield, but I could see it slotting in as the new Mos Eisley, like you said. Like, there's every bad battlefield, I'm like, is this the new Mos Eisley spaceport? I don't know.
I think it's definitely a good place to use it, just as one to deter your opponent from picking your battlefield. If I'm playing against the hero deck and they're going to gain shields, they're not going to pick my battlefield. So, and I think of my deck, depending on the deck I'm playing, I'm not usually generating shields. Let's say you're playing a Django deck, Django Trooper, Django Veers. You're probably not going to play that battlefield because you might have dug in. You probably will have dug in.
Yeah.
So red decks, they're not going to ever pick this battlefield. Blue decks, they might.
Yeah, it's interesting. One thing I really like about it, though, is it's a really good silver bullet for in case there is a broken shields deck, right? I mean, we've already seen that shields are kind of on the edge of being really good, and if they ever get too good, it'll be really bad. Like, it feels like it's hard to walk that line with shields, and so I love having a card like this in the pool that's basically a just in case. Like, we think we tested this well, but just in case something slipped by, here, here's an answer for you. Don't freak out. Don't panic. There is an answer in the card pool.
Exactly. And that's a great point because there are going to be, I mean, future sets of this game. And I love, like, you know, having all this experience of playing Game of Thrones over the years. I love when a new set comes out, some new cards come out that takes a card from like a year ago that was considered trash and makes it a pretty playable card. And
Yeah.
it's kind of neat when that happens. And for the person who is the real gamer who really analyzes, you know, all the card pool, not just the new cards coming out, but the effect on the older cards, that gives that person an advantage.
Yep, I agree. So I think the bottom line for me is it's not a battlefield that I want to pick because I'm thinking like I want to pull their shields and do extra damage that way, and I'm going to claim this battlefield every turn because it is awesome. I don't think it works there. I think there's too many other good battlefields, but I do think there's a possibility that's the new Mos Eisley Spaceport. But I say that every time I see a new battlefield, John. Every one I'm like, oh, that one's terrible too. Maybe that's the new Mos Eisley.
You're right. That's true. Like the what's her name, Maz Kanata, hers is pretty terrible too, I think. But you know, it's situational. But picking the right battlefield for your deck, I think, is also a pretty good. It's a skill for this game. I mean, there's a lot of people I think that maybe overlook it or pick sometimes the obvious one, but there's maybe a better one you can use. Some decks are obvious. You're going to pick you want to do the Poe deck, you're probably going to play the Emperor's Throne Room.
Sure.
You're going to play Han, you're going to play Frozen Waste. But there are other ones that
I think you meant the graveyard, right?
The graveyard, sorry, thank you, the graveyard. Yeah, not the yeah, thank you. I knew it was an upgrade. It was an upgrade, but yes, correct. And you know, but I mean, yeah, you have to think about the battlefield you want to use. And some decks, like I said, have the obvious choice, but some other ones, I think they definitely require a little bit more thought. And you can give yourself a real advantage in the game right there with the battlefield.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. Well, make sure you come back tomorrow for the third spoiler in my trifecta of spoilers. And I will spoil a little bit about the spoiler. It's a cool card. I do not consider Ewok Village a cool card in case you want a comparison point.
Ewoks. I hope they're Wicked better be on the card. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, the card I'm spoiling is Wicket.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely not Wicket.
Man.
All right.
Chief Chirpa?
It's not Chief Chirpa either. See you next time. A Tiny Grimes Games.